Last year, in the first annual Sports and Fitness Conference, we introduced a company called Ohmic Interactive. Gentlemen, if you could please close the door, thank you. We introduced a company called Ohmic Interactive who is doing gesture recognition technology. In the past year, they've grown, expanded, partnered with many different companies and products, and have a great deal to announce today. And we have Shaheen Kazi, who's the Director of Marketing. She's just going to talk for a few minutes, and then we'll have a short Q&A, and then we'll move on to our last panel. Thank you. Shaheen Kazi.
Thanks, Julie. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here, and I want to talk a little bit about precision in fitness. And it's interesting because the panel that was here just before brought it up a number of times that one of the things that we need in fitness is measurement. And that is exactly what I am here to talk about. Last October, I finally found my fitness home, so to speak, after a decade of search. And basically, what I call my fitness home is a fitness program that I can kind of stick with and commit to. One of the reasons that this program actually made sense to me was because it talks about the importance of measurement and the importance of precision in workouts. In fact, my coach tells me that it's not really so much about the length of your workout or even the amount of weight you push, but the accuracy and the precision of moving limbs through a range of motion. And if you look at some of the leading and kind of the disciplines, fitness disciplines that have staying power, all of them prescribe accuracy of movement as a key principle. And that is basically what we want to address is how do you track movement through time on an ongoing basis and make this information available, accessible, and actionable. And that is where body tracking technology comes in. Body tracking technology has come a long way. There were some inferences and references to body tracking in the earlier panel, and essentially where we are with body tracking technology is that it has the ability to give you the movement of a person within a 3D setting, which is absolutely essential to understanding, exactly how precise the movements of that client are, also assessing injury risk, joint loading, etc. For this, you essentially need 3D cameras because you've got to create a 3D frame, and then you've got to identify the person within the 3D frame, all their limbs and joints, and then over time track those limbs and joints. And all of this technology is available today with body tracking. In this example, this is an experiment that was done in late 2011. And basically what they did was in real time track movements of various different exercises, from treadmills to deep knee bends, etc. Now, what is key here is that all of this was done in real time, but it was also done not with some complex, expensive technology that requires, a lot of setup, calibration, etc. It was done using the Xbox Kinect. And this is, again, another point that came up in the panel just before me, is that, how do we make this technology pervasive and accessible to the masses? Well, I'm here to tell you it is possible, because the technology is advancing rapidly, and we're not just talking about game consoles anymore. We're talking about capabilities where you can essentially incorporate this into all kinds of hardware as well as software applications. And this is just the beginning of it. And that's where the company that I work for, Omek, comes into play. Omek is a provider of software and middleware that enables the incorporation of body tracking and gesture recognition technology into devices and applications. Our flagship product is Omek Beckon, and Omek Beckon, in the case of fitness tech, can provide the ability to quantify and to provide that quantified measuring on an ongoing basis of exercises, to incorporate that into devices and into software applications. Very specifically, what Omek does, or Omek Beckon does, is it takes the raw technical data from 3D cameras or 3D sensors, and it makes them intelligible. And the way it makes them intelligible is it understands the exact frame, the frame of reference of what, of that space, and it identifies the humans within that space. It makes them contextual. It provides details of how many humans there are and all their limbs and joints, and as they move, it starts tracking that movement in real time. And then it makes it all that quantified data. It makes that actionable by providing a development environment and a set of tools for developers to build upon. Just a little more granular view on what happens is Omek's Beckon starts up with the depth map. So this is the sort of thing that that Omek would basically render. And then it identifies all the limbs and the joints of the individual, creating that skeleton, tracking that in real time. And then as they continue to move, you can do this either in absolute terms or relative. So for example, if you're benchmarking, you can also use this data to benchmark against something. And then basically provide developer access to this information and an environment for them to build all kinds of applications over it. So here is just a view of kind of all the limbs we track. We track multiple limbs, something around 24 different joints that we track. And this information is provided both in rough terms, and by rough terms, what I mean is in terms of gesture recognition, where this information can also be used in addition to kind of measuring the movement of that client or of that of the person behind the in front of the camera. You can also use this as a communication device where that person in front of the camera can use gestures to communicate with the machine. And that's what we call rough. And then exact, which is what you need for body tracking, for measurement situations, and that is also provided by the same technology. So does this open up new market opportunities? Absolutely, and for many different segments of the industry. Basically, for device hardware vendors, this means that there's an opportunity to look at potentially new devices and to incorporate this technology into devices that they've already got. Also, the form factor of the devices there's just a huge opportunity in terms of the range of form factors that could be possible because this technology is becoming, and this is again something that was brought up in the last session, it's becoming so small and so pervasive that you can really look at incorporating this technology into even mobile platforms. So all kinds of platforms, from large equipment to mobile platforms. For application developers, I think there is just so much work that needs to be done. Everything from creating applications that support, that make fitness more fun, gamification of applications, to creating potential continuous feedback loop that enables people to correct their movements. So as they are doing their movements and we're tracking their movements, there's an opportunity to say, okay, this is what we're seeing you're doing, but the correct movement is thus. I mean, you could potentially create augmented reality layer on top of the track that you are creating with that client, and then encourage that client to follow their avatar, if you like, and basically self-correct. And then, of course, on the kind of back end of the exercise, there's all kinds of applications in the way of reporting, in the way of measurement that still need to be built out. So huge opportunity for development community. And then, is there an opportunity for coaches and physical therapists? Absolutely. Again, I refer to the last session where the question was, well, you know, there's a very small minority of people who can afford the entourage of kind of personal trainers and coaches. Well, what about the masses? What about the rest of us? And through this technology, it is possible for coaches to kind of extend out their market segment to create basically virtual client base, you know, either for reasons to just kind of extend out their market or even make this technology available to people who cannot come on site. Make it more affordable to the masses. So again, opportunity for all three constituents of market segments. So what are Omek's advantages? Multiple. One is we are camera independent. In fact, we're the only company providing body tracking and gesture recognition technology that is not tied to a camera, to a hardware camera. And there's a very significant advantage to that. It means that you're free to choose the camera of your choice, and also it means that whatever you build is future-proofed inherently because it is built on a platform that is not tethered to any particular camera type. In addition to that, our technology is optimized for lean platforms, and that means, and I had brought this up earlier, that you're looking at this technology becoming very pervasive, being embedded in all kinds of devices, everything from large physical equipment to very small mobile platforms. And we also have something that is very unique to Omek, which is that we apply machine learning techniques. So what that means is that there's an opportunity to continuously teach the devices around you, the computerized devices around you, to get to know the person who is doing the exercising. And that the machine, through machine learning, our software will enable continuous kind of intelligence and growth whereby you can create new gestures, track new exercises, etc. And it will learn all of this on its own through machine learning, no coding required. And then finally, a developer environment. We are here to support our developer community. We support all the relevant languages, all the relevant operating systems, the different development engines, and then also have just a tool of onboarding support as well. So just a little bit about Omek. We are a technology provider of gesture recognition and body tracking. We work with a set of hardware vendors as well as software vendors. You can find our technology embedded in TV sets, set-top boxes, all kinds of peripherals, digital signage, and then we're building out our software developer ecosystem to really help them build applications on those hardware platforms. We're privately held, headquartered in Israel. Our investors include Intel. And then we also have offices in San Francisco and Taipei. And we would love to hear from OEMs, hardware manufacturers, and developers on how we can work together. Thank you for your time, and I'll be here for a few minutes. And we also have a booth in the North Hall, just downstairs. So we'd love to have you come and talk with us, and we can show you some great demos as well. Thanks very much. Oh, actually, I think we're going to open up for Q&A.
Technologically, are you using a laser scanner and getting the range to the body? Is that how? What is the underlying mechanism you're using for tracking?
So the underlying there are actually many layers of technology that go into it. Omek provides the middleware. So basically, these sensors, the 3D sensors, 3D cameras have come a long way. And what they will do is they will use multiple different techniques to extract information on a particular environment using light techniques, etc. And through that, they will get a lot of raw data on what is within a particular frame, a spatial environment. That data is then taken by Omek and converted into recognizing all the human frames within that, and then tracking the movement of those frames. So we first recognize the human frames. We actually we are able to detect the joints of that human frame and then track the movement of those joints on an ongoing basis.